your phone has replaced your camera, your alarm clock,
Yes.
your video camera. I mean,
Yes.
like your
Everything.
computer. Replace all those things. And saying, don't let it replace your mate. Oh, say it one more time, Mister. Mister. Welcome to the Laugh, Learn, Love podcast show with Mr. and Mrs. Mister. I'm your host, Mr. aka Jeffrey Mister. Right beside me is my wife of almost 15 years.
Almost 15
Two
years.
kids, no animals.
Mrs. Mister, aka Dana Mister, and together we are
the Misters. Yeah. And on this podcast, we believe in every season of life, whether you're single, engaged, married, divorced, whatever. You need to laugh, learn, and love. We want to thank everybody who've already subscribed on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts. You left a rating. You gave us 5 stars. And so thank you. Salute to you. And so today we are getting into the question, is my phone bae? Is my phone, it's my cell phone. Ooh, it's my phone bae. It's my phone bae. Have you given up the person that you used to love? You used to look in their eyes and gaze and look at the stars, have picnics out in the yard. Now for your iPhone 37 or whatever number you're on right now, or your Android calls for your heart. And so now the person, am I cheating on my mate with my phone? Is my phone taking over our relationship?
And not only that, just with any relationship, is your phone taken away for those who may be single from just interacting with other people? Or are you so engaged with your phone that you just missing out on life? Or if you have kids and you single with kids, is your phone taking over your time, spending time with kids and all of that? So it's amazing how times have changed. I know when we got married 15 years ago, it was just a basic phone still.
And I talk about that sometimes too. I feel like it was like when you left work, you didn't have emails, you didn't have people contacting you.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate that we have definitely become, it's a good thing. I love technology. You love technology, right? I believe everybody loves technology. It's a way to connect, but we have to learn how to disconnect, just as important, because growing up, like, I remember even the phone, my great grandmother had one of the phones where it had
that's the rotary.
And you had to wait till it go all the way back.
You're like, no, did I press that note?
Then you had to start all the way back over. Or, even then as the time progressed along, then it was just a house phone. And then, I know for me, I was a senior in high school when I got my first Nokia 5160, 5163?
I'm going to shout my auntie out too. I got my first cell phone on my senior year in high school. Shout my auntie out. She co-signed for me to get a phone at that point in time. So shout out to Aunt Leola.
Yes. And so we went from that phone. So, but then, for me, it was minutes, right? You had minutes, or
so 7 o'clock. You had the
for mine it was 9.
Yeah. 7, it was 9.
And then it went up to 7.
Yeah.
And so and then text message. Even text message was like 25 cents or 10 cents. So
when we met, I was like, you had Sprint. And Sprint, I don't think it's no longer. And so her phone bill was like, how long was your phone bill? Like,
that was high.
$400 in college. I said, man, if we're going to get in a relationship, we got to curve this off. We got to figure out what's going on here. Because I was like, this is not going to work.
But then as time progressed along, now it's just like, it's unlimited everything. And so, which is a great thing. But I know for some of us, it's become like, is your phone truly bae? So yeah.
Yes, and so we're gonna get into it. Whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're engaged, whether you broke up, whether your relationship was broken up by your phone because you felt insecure from that situation or whatever. I got some stats right here. Users spend on average 2 hours and 51 minutes a day on their smartphone. I think it is increased. That was I think it's increased.
Yeah. What year was that?
Much more. This was from 2020.
It's a lot more than that. And the thing about it is, one thing about iPhone, does your phone give you like how long you was on? So statistics, you may look at like, wow, I was on the phone that long each day, and so you don't realize it. It kind of goes by on time. You don't even realize what's actually happening. And when we say phone, meaning like your phone calls, like your text, like checking your emails, checking your text messages, scrolling on social media, all of that is included. So it just shows you, for mine to give me a daily, what was my average technology time in a week. Yes,
exactly.
And it's heartbreaking. Like, I mean, it's not heartbreaking, but it's like, wow, you spend so much time on like your phone that you just like, wow.
And so I was looking at an Instagram post. It was saying your phone has replaced your camera, your alarm clock, your video camera. I mean, like your computer. Replace all those things. It's saying don't let it replace your mate. Oh, say it one more time, Mister. On the left, learn. I heard you say it replaced your alarm clock, your computer, your camera, your video camera, all those things. And don't let it replace your mate. And many of you may be listening right now like, oh, but the question is, do you realize it in the moment? So the time you feel like, you may like that, do you realize it in the moment? You're like, wow, this is something.
No, I think most of the times, for most people, we just, and you could chime in because you're in the same thing as well, but I just feel like most time it's just like you're just trying to accomplish the task, whatever it is on your phone at that time, whereas it was so crazy. Like yesterday was supposed to be a technically off day, but it's just like, wow, like just calls after calls, back to back. We was trying to go somewhere for a drive-through, and it was just like back to back calls and emails and text messages, and it's like a domino effect. It's like one call, it dominates everything else. So it's amazing how that happens. So I just think I don't think it's you like ignore your spouse. I think you just trying to accomplish what the task at hand. But I'm gonna share some things that I decided to do for 2021. I shared it with our my family, my immediate family at New Year's Eve dinner, or New Year's Day dinner. Like some things that I know I wanted to do during a certain time frame. So yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll get into it. So we always like to hear from you guys, and so you guys help everybody else. You help us. We try to be real with y'all, authentic and genuine about it. You the same way. And so we call you our MFs.
Mr. Family.
That's our Mr. Family. So we have you write in. So if you like to write and you want to be a part of this portion here as we laugh, learn, and love, is MF help me. And Mr. Family help me. And so our question of the week, MF help me. I love my husband, but he stays on his phone. He works in business and sells different things for his company, but he never logs off. When he is not working, he is working on his next business venture. He even gets on his phone directly after sex. When I ask him about it, he gets defensive and says he has to work. He has to pay the bills for the family. I get frustrated, so I sometimes lash out and sometimes I shut down. MF, help me. So, so real life. This is what I love about this. That's what when I made this podcast is about helping real situations like that. This is real. This is a real situation. So yours may not be the same thing. It may be different. So we'll start up. Dana sometimes gives the good biblical answer there. We'll see where she goes.
But before we get into that, let's go ahead and do this theme song.
Oh yes, we did not do this song.
Learn, love.
Hey.
Laugh, learn, love.
Podcast.
Laugh, learn, love.
With Mr. and Mrs. Mister.
Laugh, learn, love.
Podcast.
Laugh, learn, love.
Podcast.
Laugh, learn, love.
With Mr. and Mrs. Mister. Yeah.
Let's start the show.
Yeah, we'll be right if we do it. Okay.
All right.
Get into the ML help me. ML help me.
So basically, to sum it up, this lady wrote in and said that her significant other, her spouse, pretty much is always on the phone. He has to work and all those good things. Okay, I understand that. Now, where I draw the line is when you got to the part was when she stated that he got on his phone after they being intimate with each other. Now, let me tell you something. There's a moment that you have between a man and a woman. It's a moment that between a man and a woman that is a shared space, right? In the bedroom, right? And so my thing is, if we're sitting there, we've been intimate with each other, so now everything is good, and now this is an opportunity for you now that you could connect even further by cuddling with each other or talking with each other. Don't get on your phone. Now, that's where I draw the line. There's no need for him or her to get on their phone after something that you share with each other. Like, it's pretty much like a slap in the face. And honestly, it would make me feel abandoned and neglected if after a time that we've been with each other, it's like, well, dang, like, that's what I mean to you? Like, I would have an issue with that. But I would say that you should communicate with him, especially that in regards to after intimacy. But I believe you should communicate with him and just say, hey, like, you know, I have an issue with you being on your phone all the time. And I want, and I also, back it up, I would say,
I'm listening.
So I would say, you know, it hurts me when you're on your phone all the time. So start there. It hurts me when you're on all the time. So I would like for us to spend, because I love spending time with you. You my bae. I love spending time with you. So, and if they have kids on the side, I want us to show them as well what positive communication, what that looks like, right?
Okay.
So I would like for us to take some time, like, let's set up a time. This is what I've done. This is what I do. This is what I agreed to my family. I would like for us to take some time, either 2 hours out of the afternoon, from 6 to 8. 6 to 8 is usually a good time, or even 7 to 9, with no phone. No phone. We just disconnect. No phone, no computer, nothing. Right? No phone, especially no phone, no computer, because you may have a show that you guys want to watch together or something like that. So I'm not going to take away the TV. What I am stating is utilize that time, whether you're able to cook dinner together or sit down around the table together, talk about each other's day. I mean, because this right here could be so dangerous. It could just, it makes us, it's almost like, actually, for some people, the phone has become addiction. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Addiction. You know, the phone could be an addiction for some people. So I would say, that's what I'm saying. Sit down with him, talk to him, and just be like, especially when it comes to intimacy. Like, don't get on your phone.
So I think you raised a lot of good questions. I think this is me, Mr. This is my take on this. And so MF helped me. So let me help you, MF. And so I think, first of all, like you said, communication there too. I think what this guy, and what I think most people are, you're so used to, I was just reading a stat that most people open their phones 150 times a day. So you like to open your phone. That's a lot of time. So I think once you do something so much subconsciously, you don't even know that you're doing it. So I think
it's like sleep. It becomes sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it becomes a part of it. Also, too, I was reading in terms of like, I don't know, that can be your normalcy. So like boring wise, like when's the last time you just this is something I was talking about too, about like no television, no phone, to where your mind actually wanders or you can think through something. And many times when I'm not doing something, I'm sitting back like, I need to be in it. It's just like a slot machine, like your phone lights up, it does everything. So I have to be on it. So I think for her, I'm kind of get to the point of this, is just saying that how are we communicating explicitly about that? And can we take what our mate is saying to us? Because if this is something I'm addicted to, just the same way we have somebody with drugs, right? Addicted to drugs or food or whatever. And that's something, show you watch too. Well, we watch 600 Pound Life.
But with that though, even like with 600 Pound Life, right? There's some enabling going on, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, but the other, like both people have to acknowledge that. So first it starts with, let's communicate first. Let's get our communication on, the first place of that. But also after that, when it comes up, because if I'm addicted to something, it's going to happen subconsciously unless I'm so self-disciplined I can see it. So what happens when they say, hey, babe, and that's where I think it comes off at, because it's a trigger for us. So let's say you're struggling with your phone. I come to you and say, hey, I'd like to spend some time with you or something like that. And so if it's a trigger, like most people respond with saying, well, you always on your phone too, or we'll point back out to something like that because it's just the way it goes. So I think communication and just having a time saying, when that time comes up, how do you want me to communicate? What's the safe word or some way I communicate that doesn't trigger you to get to that place? Because I can't control what you're triggered by, especially if you agree on something that we got to get to. So MF help me. Y'all drop in the comments too, really, and let this person know, hey, what do you do? Is it a problem for you? How can they
And for the people that's not a problem for them, please, help share your information. Sure. But I do know that's one of the things that I agree with my family this year was to set aside a time during a certain time where it's no phone, no computer. Because again, like I understand everybody's busy, and this is my challenge though for everybody though. It used to be a time which I miss where work was 9 to 5 or 8 to 4.
But that's the thing now.
But I believe because of technology, it has become like where we can respond to emails any time of the day. Like, it used to be you just had to receive a letter, in the mail, and you wait to respond. So life has changed. But how about we get back to the basics where it was a time for work. And it was a time for like family life. So we have to work more on work-life balance.
So if we're going to get into this, right? So you may be thinking, that's not me. Or maybe thinking that's you. You may be completely silent. We got 11 signs real quick. We're going to get into what happens. And then what we can do about it. Real quick before we go into that point. Is there anything, a time that you felt like, you know what, I am on my phone a lot at this place of time. I'm on my phone a lot. Is there a quick time that you think about right now? Like,
well, I think what was the wake-up call for me was, and the reason why I decided to do the 2-hour thing or whatever it is in the afternoon is because when I think we were just sitting around and I was like, it was like we were watching a movie or something. I don't know. It may have just been me and the kids or whatever. And then we was watching something and like, how you could like subconsciously hear somebody calling you, but you're not. And all I remember it was like, mommy, put down your phone. And like that was like, dang, like I am on my phone and I am on my phone a lot. So I think it was just like a wake up. Your kids were checking too, and I'm cool with my kids checking me in a respectful way.
Are you cool with me saying something?
Yeah, and I'm cool with you checking me in a respectful way. So and so for me it was like, wow, like it's so easy to get caught up, especially with running different businesses and all of that stuff. And then another thing too. My downside, and again, that's why I'm careful. I don't want us to go to even another level because of the pandemic. Now we have to do Zoom calls versus having meetings, right? So now your meetings have to come into your home. So now we're able to create meetings at 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the evening. And for me now, I don't want to get to that level. And I find myself like, it was like, a business call here at this evening, a business call here. It was like every single day. And it's just like, I don't want to get to that point. I want my home back. I want my family time back. I want that back. I don't want to be, and I understand there's certain exceptions, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be an ongoing, like every single day, like at 6 o'clock in the evening or 7:30, trying to do it. So yeah.
If you struggle compartmentalizing things, and I think that some people in our society do, I won't call out who, you put yourself, it could be anybody, it could be anything. If you struggle compartmentalizing things, then you won't cut off. And so this brother here that's in this situation here, he struggles compartmentalizing, thinking, okay, as soon as you wake up, I got this meeting, I got this, and you can never fully be present in the moment that you have right now. And so some people some people have to intentionally work at it. And so, but if I'm not strategically thinking about it, acknowledging and working at it, you'll never get out of this bubble of MLP. I mean, I know there's a lot of people just in that same thing. So,
but Adam, one more thing to that. I think another thing too, because I love 600 Pound Life because it has so many good takeaways. Like seriously, like because one of the things it teaches you is people just don't wake up and be like, oh, I want to be 600 pounds, right? So we just don't wake up and be like, oh, I just want to be addicted to my phone. It's a gradual, it's bit by bit by bit. So, and another thing too is getting to the root. Like, what is it? Why are we so afraid to let go of our phones? Like, get to the root of that. Why do we feel like we have to respond so urgently to people? Or why do we feel like we have to scroll mindlessly on social media? So I think getting to the root of things, and that's always, I love Dr. Now, like, you have to get to the root of the issue. So getting to the root of the issue of why we do what we do. So
preparing for this today, I looked at, and some of it is the dopamine that you get from being on your phone. So let's say now, if you notice this too, and like you get notifications of, people liking your picture, or like comments on your thing. And so why is that on your phone, right? Like why is it on your phone? It's to keep you just so if you get there, TikTok, app like that, their first thing is they want you, and I just got on TikTok, to kind of, because I do comedy videos and whatnot too. And so the first thing I noticed was they want you, the first thing they say, the very first thing they say is, you never know what the next video is, just scroll up like this. And so I was like, wow. So even in its design is to keep you scrolling, engaged, mindless. And so if you ever been to the bathroom where your legs fall asleep, or you ever been somewhere before,
yes.
You sit back and you're like, man, how long have I been in here?
Right.
And so, but you don't know because there's another thing you see of like, oh wow, I didn't know such and such happened to them. Oh, I didn't know they took this trip. Oh, I didn't know they got engaged. And so it's something else that's being created that you're like, I wonder what the next thing is. And if you don't have self-control, I'm telling you, this is one of the reasons why I changed my diet too and things like this. Of just trying to, because I didn't have self-control of some of those things. So I was like, let me try to develop some of that too so it becomes a better thing. So if this is you, and I know this is most of us, because in some level, some capacity, this gets us. And so thinking about those moments, this is a trigger for me. So when I feel bored, when I feel lonely, when I feel like something like that, I go to this instead of going to this or engaging in some type of form. It's at a 1500 power level now. But most of us don't even know it. And like you said, on 600-pound life until it's too late at this extent. Now it's life-threatening to your relationship or to your family or whatnot too. So we got an article from A Conscious Rethink. They have 11 warning signs that smartphone usage has turned into an addiction in your relationship. So number one is they ignore you. Like you mentioned before on like, oh, you heard something in your subconscious mind. And also this is something you mentioned too before of multitasking. Some people can multitask, but I would say even
the best multitasker can't multitask.
Yeah, most definitely. And so, to me, it means a lot when you give your undivided attention. Like I'm listening. You know how you can be. I'm listening. Like if you can give your direct. So gifts, all those things are great. But like I think one of the biggest things is that you can give the person is time because you can't get it back. You can't get it back. So that time, that quality time. So they ignore you. So are you ignoring the person next to you? Like Dana said. Family and whatnot too.
Yes. So it's noticeable. So it's not only your spouse that says something to you. Like for me, it was my kids that said something, to me, or it may be a coworker or your friend. Like you're not paying attention to me. Hey, So that may be a sign that your phone is bad. Your phone may be addictive. So yeah.
Number three is they're distracted. They're distracted to where, it throws it off. And so like after sex and you go right to your phone to scroll through, or maybe there's a blog you like to read about, or there's something about that. And it's like getting back to those moments, those precious moments in life. And what I found is though, in those moments that we've struggled in, can we listen to each other? Like you said, kids are different, but can you listen to your real bae in a situation like that? So how could I come to you that'll be effective? So let's say you're like this at one of the moments that is not right to be on your phone. How can I come to you and say it without it being triggering or something at that place? So like what let's say you're
I mean, for sure. I believe most of the times, like it's with anything, and I think that's another thing that 600-pound life has taught me is when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Like for example, and today I'm just gonna be referencing that show, but like they know they shouldn't be eating Popeyes, McDonald's, KFC in one setting, let's say a Taco Bell in one setting. Like, this, right? So for me, I know I'm not supposed to be on my phone, finding that work-life balance where it's time for me to just shut it off. So I believe, be like, hey, come talk to me, come talk to me. Let's put our phones down. Let us put our phones down. Let us put down our computer. So make it as a joint thing versus, hey, can you put your phone down? You see what I'm saying? You see the difference? Okay. So I think making a joint statement And I think going back to the lady earlier, hey, I want us to spend time together. So hey, how about we set aside a no phone computer zone for 2 hours out of the day? And I'm sorry, there are 24 hours out of the day you could give to. So
yeah, and so figuring out when those moments are. So like yours, what you doing? And so with this, we kind of move forward with this, but just thinking through of getting insight from the other person too. So when, and this is next level. I just thought about this too. This is next level, where you proactively ask the person. You say, "Hey, is there a time that you feel that I'm on my phone too much?" And then actually listening and apply that situation. I think it's next level to where if he did that for her or the same person.
But I think we gotta take baby steps. Everybody, most people are not there, but I think that's excellent. I think that's excellent.
Well, I would say I would disagree because I'm thinking of just asking a question. I think of being able to hear because I may feel like I'm fine at that place of time, but I think perception of who you're with matters most. I think if I just go off my own conclusion, I may be right or I may not have something that you may be triggered by. So I think being able to proactively ask that, I think, would be a huge thing.
Okay. And the next one is they don't apologize. Basically, a lot of times if we are engaged in the phone, like if Jeff and I are sitting here talking, all of a sudden Jeff pick up his phone and just started messaging somebody, and then he doesn't say, "Excuse me," he don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, babe, you were talking," or anything like that, then that may be another sign that you may be addicted to your phone.
Yes, yeah. The way you say that too, and this kind of gets into number 5 of they're easily bored, and we see this on dates. You see couples out, and most of us, can be guilty of this too. Of you get there, we're there together, and so this is one thing I like about when we first started dating too. And some people who are new to dating, or you just started dating within the last 5 or 7 years, however long it's been at that place of phones really being a big push, maybe even longer than that. But it's like you didn't have a choice, so it's like this, right? So it's like, when you got there, your phone was just dialing, and so we could text somebody, but texts were like 15 cents each. So unless you rich, unless you Elon Musk, you couldn't pay for text messages. So so you had to engage in those conversations, almost like kids that don't have a lot of technology. You got to be creative and inventive. We usually have red light, green light, all the kind of games like that because we didn't have anything else to do. So you became more creative. I think now. It's like the first sense of boredom or the fourth sense, like, man, I gotta try to create something. You know what? It's easier for me to just engage here. Yeah. They don't ask nothing of me. This phone loves me for who I am.
Yeah.
It loves me.
And actually, boredom is good. That's one of the things I do know people have shared. Now, boredom is good because it helps you, like you say, it just lets your mind just think and goes to another space, another level to go beyond like our phones. And so even like for kids, like take away their iPads, take away their anything related to technology, and just let them just have a day of like just freedom to just just to explore. And if they say, "Oh, I'm bored," oh great, you need to be bored.
Be creative, kind of feel creative. Yeah.
They get separation anxiety.
What does that mean? Break it down. What does that mean?
If you lose your phone, if something happens to your phone, you are about to lose your mind. Like prime example, unfortunately, y'all remember the lady that happened in New York, where she thought, her name wasn't Karen.
Karen, so I call her Karen.
But she thought somebody took her phone, and like she just went ballistic. She tried to beat up the African American young man. Like she just went ballistic. Like it's something that creates in us. Like, oh my, it's like almost like losing. Like it's like they lost their child or lost their best friend. It's like it has become so connected to you. So yeah.
Yep, and then FOMO, where you have a fear of missing out, where you think, if I'm not on this time, what happens if the news thing? What happens if those things? Yeah. What happens if somebody does something? I can't get to the latest gospel news or whatever, so I got to be attached 24 hours a day to where now you get to the place. Yes. 7 is they can't see the problem. They can't see what you mean? Everybody on their phone, and you hear statements like this. Well, you always on your phone, or it's not a problem for me. I could shut this phone down whenever I want to. See, I set it down. But it looks up to you. It was someone on Netflix about this same thing. I can't think of the name of the show, right? So his mom was like, hey, all right, she made this jar that had a timer. So while they're eating, everybody put their phone in this little jar. It's a time it doesn't open until the timer goes off. And so they're sitting around, you can hear like, and they look around like, this sucks. This is the worst thing ever. And so then the daughter gets up like, hey, can I go get someone to drink? She's like, sure. She gets someone to drink and like gets a hammer and smashes the thing because her alerts are going off in the thing. She can hear alerts going off. And so she smashes the thing to get out, to get the phone out. And I was like, wow. And so think about this though, for people who are dating, those who are single, those who are, young too, and you get into a place you're like, wow, if this is what I'm doing now, imagine when you get your spouse and they say something that triggers you from what you have. Or it's something that, you know what, I can get to this place. And so I can connect with somebody else. And so the connection that used to come from the one-on-one conversation, or let's laugh, or let's get a chance to know each other, can come from this, from getting that place. So now I feel validated, I feel seen by everybody else in the world except for who's closest to me. So, woo! So, yes. Can't see the problem. Can you see the problem? Are your eyes open? Can you see the problem there?
Yeah.
So,
they get stressed by social media and emails. And so ultimately what this means is we spend our time scrolling on social media, comparing ourselves to other people. So if you just sit mindlessly, scrolling social media and comparing yourself, you may be a sign that you may be addicted to your phone. Mm-hmm. And then also with the emails. Now this is my thing with, it's hard because as soon as that bing, you go like, okay, who's responding? You don't want, you want to make sure you respond. So again, creating that work-life balance. So it's okay to turn off, like, it's okay to disconnect. If you, even like for me, I had to get to the point where I just put my phone on do not disturb, because that just helped me. Because with do not disturb, or even just shutting the phone completely off. Now, some people don't want to shut their phone completely off. Now, I know for me, if my kids are away from me, I just do not disturb, and then that way certain calls can't come in, and then something should happen. But otherwise, it's kind of like, what happens is if you're constantly responding to the emails, it's like, how you constantly respond to something, but you really don't want to do it, but you feel like you have to do it. It puts you like in a bad mood, right? And so then you sitting here, you're in a bad mood, and your kids say something, and then like another thing too, if it's something that you need to respond to from work that you don't necessarily agree with, like if your child say, hey mommy, it's just like, or if your child asks you for something and you in a bad mood, you're not, so you may displace that mood onto your children or your spouse or in your home, because you're supposed to be checking your email anyway, right? So again, it's kind of like, now what I'm trying to do better at is once I get home, how many of us like sit in your car? Well, I know Jeff been virtual for almost a year now, but like for me, when I get home, it's like I just sit in my car and just like, and then, because now you need to shift your mindset. So I think another thing too is if you could just detox everything from work to shift now for that 2-hour time period that we discussed, I think that would help.
Yep. Number 8 is you feel rejected. And so if you are the partner, if you are the spouse, if you are the person that you're dating, and you're thinking you feel rejected by those things. So like this lady from the MF helped me. She felt like I feel rejected because this is the time, like we just shared a moment. I just put the yams on you. And this is what you think to go to that place. And I know sometimes too, like it's one of those moments. I know we've had moments that both of us, I guess I probably felt rejected at those times. To me, it's like, how do you communicate that in those moments? Because I don't know. To me, it's like I would think of like, you don't see what's actually happening, and that person may or may not be seeing it. So it's like, how do you communicate and continually communicate? We've been almost 15 years married to this thing, still trying to figure out how to get that down completely. But how do you communicate in those moments when you do feel like, come on now, this is not it in those times. And not to say that person is intentional to do it, they may not even realize that they're doing. I remember when you were on the blogs for like the Disney blog thing, whatever. What's the name of it? Like the little Disney thing, whatever it is, right?
You remember you telling stories about you.
I know. I know it's a trigger. I feel like it's a trigger, but no, I'm saying. No, I think it's a triggering for you. I feel like, but it's okay to say. Is it okay to say that?
Sure.
Okay. You see, like, but it's not. I'm not saying a bad. I'm saying this is the. We're trying to be transparent as to those things, and so I would be like, you got all this fineness over you at that place at the time. I was like, you don't see, and not that you would say this. This is what I would perceive it to be is as something that's in the blog is more important than me at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I would struggle with how to communicate that so it doesn't come off in a negative sense and it doesn't elevate any more of the feelings itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not putting it at the place. I'm just trying to give a real thing. Did you feel that from me then at the time, or you didn't feel it at all?
I didn't feel it at all.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's like if I don't say anything, if I say something, it could be combative or start some type of thing. Or if I don't say something, I just sit in the feeling of rejection that I perceive it to be. So it's like in those moments, because the moment you mentioned were from kids, but I'm thinking like in terms of like your spouse or who you're dating, how do they communicate in those moments so it doesn't get through? And I think like you said before, it's like, hey, love to spend some time with you at those places. And so it's a multi-layered thing. I think it's talking about it not in that moment, so it's not as triggering. That's why I'm trying to bring it up. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, how do you bring it up to where it does? Because it's triggering. Does it? Do you?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. But I believe it's the same thing though for women. For some women, yours, for me is the Disney ball thing. Or for some, I think some women they may say is when their significant other watch sports and they want to have a comment. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's both. I think both parties have one point in time or another have done something where their spouse may have felt rejected because of technology. So that's
So what was the solution?
So that's what I was saying earlier is about going to that spouse and like, hey, I want to spend some time with you, or that sort of thing. So, but I think that's one of the things I'm gonna be totally honest with y'all. That's one of the things that I want Jeff and I both to work on is versus looking constantly at the flaws of the spouse, like say, hey, like redirect it. You know what I'm saying? Like versus looking at, well, that's why I was like, oh, you gonna give my example versus find an example of when.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. No, see, I thought that was something. So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's like.
So, but go ahead. But I don't want to.
But that can be triggering of just like you see how it can be to that place. And I wasn't even trying to. Trigger
No. I'm cool with that. But what I'm stating is a lot of times I just want to provide a healthy way of communicating where I think sometimes it's so easy to point out the flaws in your spouse and your significant other or other people, but sometimes I just want us to start being more reflective of ourselves. That's what I'm saying. I want us to be more reflective of ourselves and like, man, well, it's versus stating there was a time, hey, was there a time where you felt abandoned or neglected? You know what I'm saying? Or, So,
gotcha. Okay, number 9 says your sex life is suffering. Says your partner gets in the bed and starts flicking through their phone, which means you're not thinking so much about cuddling and physical closeness.
Yes, a worrying number of people have even admitted to checking their phone while getting intimate. Wow, now that's big time.
Let me see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Get it up. Yep.
Yes.
And so so there's you. I mean, most of it deals with how do you communicate, and most of us haven't learned. Like coming up, I didn't learn how to communicate when, as a man, like this is something like, wow, this like nobody taught me. I don't know of other guys too, but like nobody really taught me of like, hey, when you feel neglected or when you feel like that, how do you respond? Like that's not they don't teach that as a manly thing of like communicate this way.
Well, I think that's just in the community that I think that's for most people, and that's the reason why I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I feel like everyone can learn from is how to communicate healthy and more effectively. You know, so and it is listening. That's one of the things that Jeff and I that we talk about constantly is, I feel I'm like, we both speak more than when we're listening, and it's kind of like nothing gets accomplished, or if you're constantly talking over each other and that sort of thing. So it's like nothing won't get accomplished because it's just like you basically just trying to outspeak the other person. So it's kind of like, okay, so just try to, learn how to communicate more healthy.
Yep. And the last two are number 10 is they take refuge in their phone at awkward moments. And number 11 is the main reason you fight. So being able to stop and say, man, I'm taking refuge in my phone. It's a discussion that needs to happen. I feel triggered. Let me go to my phone because it's more comfortable. Or like I need to get this out, but like I'm used to doing this. I think that's the level past communication. Like most of us may say something, but it depends on what's said back to us. And many of us haven't got to that place that we're strong enough to put. Oh, I feel it's make me feel some type of way because if I'm addicted to something, if I need to pull away from it, and you've called it out in something that I said I was going to do and it didn't happen, it's a triggering moment. And so I can either do this. I can say, you know, let me take a breath. Now let me address let me express the emotion I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling that makes me feel a little angry, but I'm willing to listen to what you have. So like getting past that. And so like you said, the main reason you fight about some people with trust, maybe with trust in the phone, and so first being trustworthy in the place, but also being able to see, okay, like who I'm with is not the problem. The problem is the problem. So being able to talk about what that problem looks like. And they gave us 6 fixes. So you may be thinking, yikes, ouch, oh, that's me. Oh, they talk about me. Oh, they talk, and so this is us.
So we're going to go through these really quickly because time is almost wrapping up.
Yep. So number 1, get things out in the open. Being able to communicate that is not a skill set you are born with. Get things out in the open. You may have seen your parents or your mother or father, whoever you were raised with, your grandmama never be able to communicate effectively, get things out in the open. And so you may be told, just bury it.
Okay. Have technology-free times and zones. That's what I was just talking about earlier. I think we all agree that turn our phone on first thing in the morning. Let's stop doing that. I think, because I'm guilty of that. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning, which I am looking for my phone to do my devotion, but that should not be the first thing we do is to wake up and, turn over to the phone. So I would say this, again, set a time aside if you talk to your spouse or even set a challenge for yourself. Like for me, I was like, I want to have a zone, technology-free time from 6 to 8. I started in January, which I did really good from 6 to 9, but for February, I moved it up from 6 to 8. So yeah. I also talked about doing why nobody could touch their iPad, phones, or whatnot during eating time. And there's different things you could create. There's different rules that you'd be able to create. But the main thing is start small and then gradually grow. So yes.
Yep. 3 and 4 say suggest a few changes to the settings. So being able to take off, those notifications, those sounds that you hear that are triggering, almost like the little dog, like the little bill, and the dog would start saliving, like they would start slapping the mouth. Change those and then make it a game. All right, being able to think about, okay, saying, hey, let me push it this long. Let me do something, kind of make it fun.
Yes. So basically what they're saying is you could put your phone, everybody put their phone in the middle of the table, and whoever's the first one to take to grab their phone, they have to pay the table. Yep. Or if it's just you and your spouse. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. 5 is set an example. Set an example with what you're doing. So if just like Dan was talking about in terms of not saying something about the spouse piece, I think it's about setting an example, saying, hey, all right, let me begin my morning with this. I'm gonna set my phone. So it's a tough thing for me because I feel like it can still be kind of slighted, but like set an example yourself so you're not doing that. And then get intimate without the phone. Hello, get the yams. Get those yams initially, or whatever it is that you're getting right there. But, being intimate and having those real conversations, those authentic conversations, you get to that place of like, you know what? This is something that I'm going to set the mood for. I tried to do that on a date we went on. Remember the car? So I tried to do that place. I had a good time with you then. That was a good time. You enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, I did enjoy myself with you, baby.
So, okay, you got some nuggets today. You got some homework today. So the love portion is ask your mate, your spouse, yourself, look in the mirror and say, and ask that person or yourself, whatever, when is my phone my bae? When do you feel like that? When do you feel like, and actually listen and then apply it in your life. Don't get mad. I know it can be triggering because anything that goes against it can be triggered. Don't get mad and actually apply it. So you know what? I'm gonna actually try that. I'm gonna actually look at that. Even if I disagree, what that doesn't make, I'm gonna try my best to do that place and get out and open, be in a community. It's your homework, it's your love, get this place. So laugh, learn, love as we get to play. And you may be hot right now, you may be angry, but every time we wanna end off every episode with this, with a confirmation that gets to the next place. This is what we use in real life when we not speaking to each other. So, if once you look at your mate, look at your spouse, look at yourself if you ain't got anybody in your place right now. So you'll be prepared later. Look at them, look in the eyes and say these 3 things. I like you, I love you, and I want you. So,
let's go out.
Come on.
Laugh, learn, love.
Podcast.
Laugh, learn, love.
Podcast.
Laugh, learn, love.
With Mr. and Mrs. Mister.
Laugh, learn, love.
Podcast.
Laugh, learn, love.
Podcast.
Laugh, learn, love.
With Mr. and Mrs. Mister.
And that's our show.
Make sure you're following us on Instagram at mr.mrs.mister, Mr. Mrs. Mister. We have a lot of things going live, a lot of things, so make sure you are tuned in with us, connected in some capacity. Follow us on whatever you listen to. Tell somebody about the #1 rated podcast ever in the world.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.
Have a great week.
We love you guys. Love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. All right. Mwah.